Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, E-Steam The Sands of Time. It's action and adventure in ancient Egypt in this terrific teen time travel romance. Get your copy of E-Steam The Sands of Time at your favorite online bookseller today. Disney has set off a firestorm of controversy with its decision to cast black actress Halle Bailey in the lead role of Ariel for its live action adaptation of its 1989 cinematic classic, The Little Mermaid. And the controversy that has exploded online is because your Halle Bailey, a black actress, is being cast in the role of Ariel, the Little Mermaid, a story that was adapted from a Dutch fairy tale written by Hans Christian Andersen back in 1989, and the original character was played by a was designed to appear to be like a red-haired white woman who was voiced by a red-haired white woman back in 1989, singer Jodie Benson. And this decision to cast your Halle Bailey in the role of Ariel, the Little Mermaid, has set off a controversy because many people who watched the iconic and classic 1989 cinematic film believe that Halle Bailey does not fit the role of the character, nor does she capture the image of the character for the live action adaptation of The Little Mermaid. Because again, the original source material of The Little Mermaid was a Dutch fairy tale written by Hans Christian Andersen, and it was written for a white female lead. So many people believe that Disney's decision to cast Halle Bailey in this role was something done all based on the narrative of identity politics, and it was all about putting a black person in transposing a black actress in a role where she is not going to fit organically in the story. And this is the reason why many people are calling this decision a racist decision, because it was all based on casting a black actress in this lead role, and they don't believe it is right to go out here and cast this black actress in a role that was originally written for a white female actress, designed by the original author, but for a white woman, and designed for a culture that is not African American culture, because the original Little Mermaid was a fairy tale designed again by a Dutch writer, and it was designed to revolve around Dutch culture. So casting a black actress in a role which was designed to be around a white woman, it just does, it's not true to the heart of the source material, it's not true to the spirit of the source material, and it's not true to the original integrity of the story. And this is where a lot of people have a problem with the casting of Halle Bailey. They don't see it as the right person for the right role, and they see it as just casting someone based on race and not on the terms of the source material, which should be the core foundation of any adaptation. And this is why many people see this casting as a more of what they call SJW casting, where they look to shoehorn a person of color into a role where they do not fit and have that person playing a part that is not organically true to who they are or what culture they originally came from. So when they look at this casting, a lot of people who watched the original classic Little Mermaid are having issue with it, and people who like to watch Disney princess films have a serious issue with it because the identity of the character has been changed, and because the identity of the character has been changed due to ethnicity, they believe they are not going to get a faithful adaptation of the 1989 animated cinematic classic translated to the screen in this live action version. Now, when I take a critical examination of this casting, I see it as something that is not really smart from a business perspective, because Disney's The Little Mermaid is the film that practically brought Disney's animation division back from the brink in the late 80s and brought it back in a way that made Disney competitive again, because it was The Little Mermaid that ushered in the renaissance at Disney, the second renaissance actually, of animated films. And I would think that the Disney Corporation would want to honor this film by, if you want to do a live action adaptation, staying as true to the source material as possible, because this film, even though it's 30 years old, means so much to so many generations. And if it means casting an all-white cast, then you cast an all-white cast because you want to honor the original source material and you want to honor the work of all of the animators who made an effort to produce this film, the film that practically brought Disney back as a competitor in the hand-drawn animation game. So when I take a critical examination of this from a business perspective, I see it as a bad business decision, because right now, this firestorm of controversy over Halle Bailey playing the role of Ariel, the Little Mermaid, is alienating the core audience for the film, and it's alienating many of the customers who watched the '89 classic and would have been eager to take their kids to see the 2020 or 2021 version of this film and would have wanted to share this film. All of that is not going to happen because many of these fans of this film have been alienated because of this controversial decision to cast based on race and identity politics, instead of trying to cast an actress who fits the role and is true to the original source material and true to the source material of the culture of the material where it came from. And when I take a further critical examination of Disney's decision to cast Halle Bailey as Ariel, it just shows how lazy Disney is. Because when I think of these live action adaptations of these iconic and classic Disney movies, I just see it as a really lazy business decision. And the reason why I see it as a lazy business decision is because Disney's executives are too scared to go out here and take a risk on a new original character for Halle Bailey. So what they do is they try to trot out an old property like The Little Mermaid to push her star on, and that just shows how cowardly many of these Hollywood executives at Disney are, that instead of having faith in Halle Bailey's talent to give her a vehicle all her own, they go out here and shoehorn her into a film project that she does not fit organically and is not really a good fit overall. So when I look at the decision, I'm not mad at Halle Bailey. I'm mad at the Disney Corporation, because Disney has shown that they are not very creative these days. They are stuck in the past, still trying to live off and profit off of old films, and still trying to profit off of the past instead of trying to lay a foundation to build for the future. Because this decision to go out here and remake The Little Mermaid, a 30-year-old film in a live action format, instead of giving Halle Bailey her own character, just shows how weak Hollywood is, how they have no imagination, no vision, and most importantly, no courage to take the risks that Michael Eisner took when he greenlit the original Little Mermaid back in '89. Because back then, Michael Eisner saw that Disney was a struggling company, and he wanted to get the animation division back and competitive. But it seems like the 2019 Disney is just like the 1970s Disney, a comfortable, complacent business, and it no longer has that competitive edge anymore. So they'd rather go out here and generate a whole firestorm of controversy over Halle Bailey playing Ariel rather than go out here and announce that Halle Bailey is playing her own Disney princess. And what's really sad about Disney is for the $100 million they spent going out here to make this Little Mermaid remake, they could have gone out here and bought the rights to a property like I produced for Eaststeam, The Sands of Time. Now, Eaststeam, The Sands of Time would have been a perfect fit for Halle Bailey, and it would have had a lot of positives for Disney. One, they would have introduced a brand new black princess in the Princess Eaststeam character, and two, you would have had a character that would have fit Halle Bailey. You would have had a black princess in a princess story. And three, you would have had an original new character to add to the Disney princess roster. And you would have been able to get all of the young millennials, Gen Y, and Gen Z actively enthusiastic about this project, because it wouldn't have been their parents' project. It would have been a character all their own. And with a character all their own, you would have gotten the same amount of enthusiasm and energy that you would have gotten for Anna and Elsa in Frozen, the big hit for Disney and something that really revived the whole Disney princess platform. So they could have come to someone like me and bought an original property for Halle Bailey to star in, and it would have gotten positive press. It would have gotten people excited for the project, and it would have built anticipation for the project. And with that positive energy, they could have built momentum for the project as they worked on it, and they could have gone out here and gotten people energized and, again, anticipating to go see this film. Because with a project where Halle Bailey is playing her own princess, and you go out here and build it with a supporting cast like I originally planned for Eaststeam, The Sands of Time, with Samuel L. Jackson as the Pharaoh Osiris, Angela Bassett as the Queen Isis, and you have people like Jada Pinkett playing Tacadia, the villain of the piece, and then you have other black, it's an all-black cast. Then you have people really getting enthusiastic because here we're going to have a all-black cast in a Disney princess film set in ancient Egypt, and you're going to get a lot of people who were big fans of not only Disney princesses, but you're going to get a lot of people who love ancient Egypt as well. And you have all the makings of the recipe of a blockbuster, and you also have all of the positive press to go along with it. Because when you have a firestorm of controversy like what is being done with Halle Bailey and this Little Mermaid, what you're doing as you alienate the audience is you're splitting the audience, and a split audience is something no producer wants for their film. Because when you have a split audience for a film, what happens is those people who would have come to the movies and been enthusiastic to go to the movies, that half of them stay home, and the other half, they go to the movie, but then they're not really excited for the movie. It's just like what happened to Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Justice League. Both of those films wound up splitting their audience, and they wound up underperforming at the box office. Or what happened with Solo, a Star Wars story, where that film flopped. And that's something that you think a studio like Disney wouldn't want. However, because we have this whole agenda of social justice going on in Hollywood right now, more people are thinking about the identity politics of the characters rather than thinking about producing original stories where we see the content of their character and not the color of their skin. When it comes down to Disney right now, I believe that they're in a bad place, and this decision to cast Halle Bailey as Ariel shows how they don't really have a clear vision, because when you're making adaptations, you want to stay as true to the original source material of the original books like Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid, and you want to stay true to the culture that it came from, and you also want to stay true to what you produced before in the past, like 1989's cinematic classic The Little Mermaid, because the truer you stay to the material, that is going to build your audience base, and with that audience base, you can go out here and have a strong opening weekend. If you want to take a look at my interpretation of a Disney princess movie, Easting the Sands of Time, which features all black characters, you can pick up a copy of Easting the Sands of Time on Amazon.com in paperback and ebook. I designed the story to present a positive image of a black princess, and I wanted to do a story where we would see a black princess involved with a black man, and to give us a positive image of black people and show us that when it comes down to these type of stories, yes, you can cast black actors and black characters in these stories, and you can do it in a way that presents a positive image of the black family, black love, and present a very entertaining story. So if you want to pick up Easting the Sands of Time, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon, and you can pick up a paperback copy or a Kindle copy. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can pick up Easting the Sands of Time for free. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, Isis, Imitation of Life. The Goddess Next Door helps a young black girl overcome racism during the era of Jim Crow in this Golden Age Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Imitation of Life in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.